How's it going, everyone? I'm Sean and welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do fretwork on your instrument. That is a full fret level crown and polish. This is one of the most tedious, but also the most rewarding parts of maintenance that you can do on your instrument, really. It's going to make a fabulous difference to the way your instrument plays, and yeah, it's not that difficult. So grab yourself a nice hot cup of tea, get comfortable and enjoy. For this video, I'm going to be using this neck, which is from that guitar right there, which is my great guitar build off of 2022. So if you're looking for some light entertainment, go check out that playlist. It's linked right here. This neck has just had the frets in. I've clipped the frets and I've done the bevel already on the ends. So that is the start point that we're using for this. It's important to know that because if you're doing fretwork on an already completed instrument, there are one or two steps that you're not going to have to do compared to if you were doing brand new frets. If you do want to know how I install frets, go check out one of the other videos where I'm actually putting the frets in this using a fret press. And yeah, hopefully you can figure out from that video how it's done. The very first step before I do anything else, I need to make sure that this neck is dead flat and straight. To do that, I'm going to be using this guy, which is a notched straight edge. The notches just allow the straight edge to go over the frets. Now, this is a slightly strange scale length, so I need to just find where this notched straight edge works, and there it is. And then I just adjust as necessary until this is flat. Next up, with a nice straight neck, I need to decide what way I'm going to protect this fretboard as I work on it. This is an important step that people can overlook quite often. If it's one of your first times doing a fret job like this, I absolutely recommend using these guys, which are fretboard protectors. Little pieces of metal that go down either side of the fret and, well, they protect your fretboard. Simple as. I highly recommend them if you're not used to using the tools because they will save you from putting deep scratches and gouges in your fretboard. I am used to using these kind of tools, so I'm going to use masking tape, which I find an awful lot less cumbersome. And when it comes to the polishing stage, it means I don't have to retape the fretboard again. So decide for yourself which is the more suitable option. But as I said, for this one, we're going to tape it all up. I'm going to start by putting some long strips down along the length of the side of the fretboard, and then essentially put all of the other masking tape onto those side bits. Should make life a little bit easier when it comes to actually taking off all of the masking tape. Another one, as I work down the neck, at some stage the space between the frets is going to be narrower than the masking tape. For that, I'm going to get a long strip, stick it to the table, use a straight edge and a scalpel and cut that in half. Very, very silly little trick, but hey, that's what we're all here for. With the neck now safely mummified inside of its masking tape cocoon, I can get onto some actual real work. I'm going to go over, Sharpie the top of every fret. That's going to be a visual indicator for me. And then I'm going to use a leveling beam with some 320 grit paper to level the frets. I'm going to use just the weight of the beam and just sand back and forth until the top of every single fret has been scratched. As soon as the lowest one has been hit, I'm done and I'm happy. Once they're all perfectly level, I'm also going to create a ramp off whereby I'm going to use some masking tape to prop up the leveling beam on the 12th fret and essentially change the angle of the last few frets. That's going to allow me to get a much better action, much more safely, basically. And same as before, I'm going to keep going until the 16th fret has been scratched in this case. Since it's angled, the last frets are going to be hit immediately, and it's slowly going to work its way as the angle works its way up the frets. With the frets now perfectly level, it's on to probably my favorite part of the fretwork process, which is crowning. I'm going to come back, re-sharpie the tops of every fret, and then come in with a 3-corner file and essentially refine that crown back to a crown. You can imagine we started with a nice rounded fret. We've just lopped the top off it, and we want to create a nice rounded fret again. So with the 3-corner file, I'm going to take material from the sides and slowly angle the file over until I'm left with a line straight up the middle of the fret, approximately 0.5 millimeter wide. After the file, I'm going to come back in with some sandpaper, again 320 grit, start with that upright against the side of the fret and lower it down. And I'm going to refine that crown to an absolute hairline. Finally, I'm going to pass the 320 paper over the top of the fret 3 times. It's important at this stage to make sure you do the same number of passes over the top of every fret, because you just leveled the whole thing with 320 grit paper. So if I just went nuts on this and sanded it all with 320, well, it's going to make it all unlevel and bumpy and just not be very, very good. The frets are crowned, the crown has been refined, and essentially the initial polishing step has been started. But before we start bringing these up to a mirror shine, we need to dress these fret ends. To that I have another file, another tool, and I'm going to bring in nice and close to check this one out. This is a fret finishing file. Hopefully you can see it's got one side has been ground flat and square, and the other side has been ground round. I'm going to initially use the flat ground side. I'm going to hold it like this, flat to the fretboard. It's important to make sure that I'm not tilting to either side. And then I'm going to come in to the edge of the fret, 45 degrees and 45 degrees. What I'm going to do here is just use this to get the very, very corner of the fret end. So I'm going to do one pass and then another very light pass just to go around the corner. The first pass is creating a burr on here of the fret, and the second pass is just knocking that burr off. As you can hopefully see from that, I have taken the corner and only the corner. I haven't taken anything from the side, and I haven't taken a lump out of the fretboard. That is exactly what I want. And I will repeat the same on the other side. So again, flat to the fretboard, 45 degrees, 45 degrees. One pass, and then a light pass, just to take the burr. Next up, I'm going to turn the file around so that the flat side is now facing me, round side down. And we're going to create essentially an intermediary bevel here between the end of the fret and the crown of the fret. You can imagine there is a sharp corner there at the moment, and I'm going to just knock that off, nice and easy. For this motion, I'm going to be placing the file essentially parallel to the fret. I'm going to go up to a nice high angle. Think about just over 45 degrees, say 50, 60 degrees up in the air like that, nice and high. The motion I'm going to be doing for this is a dead straight, and I'm going to rotate. So this kind of a motion. It's important not to twist off or go out of parallel at any weird angles, anything like that. You need to keep it dead straight and rotate 90 degrees. You want to get the whole way up and over this fret. So just like that. What we end up with is a very, very thin, very neat bevel that goes the whole way around the end of the fret. I want it neat and I want it small. That's going to get me the best, cleanest, most attractive results. So now it's a case of rinse and repeat for 20 frets, both sides. Then finally it's on to polishing. I'm going to work up through the grits, and I'm going to go all the way up to 1500, and then I'm going to bring it out to the buffing wheel. Bit of polishing paste on it and just buff away. So next time you see this, the frets will be lovely and shiny. And there we go. Lovely, lovely, shiny frets. These are all leveled, crowned, polished, and should be playing absolutely beautifully. That is everything you need to do to get beautifully polished, beautifully playing frets. Fortunately for this one, I still have to do some work on this fretboard. It does not match the beautiful frets that are now in it. For that, what I'm actually going to be doing is scraping this fretboard and then rehydrating with some fretboard restorative. To see my process for scraping that fretboard, check out my other video, which is one I made quite a while ago when I was still back at home. So let's see if it still stands up. Anyway, guys, this is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, check out my other videos. And if you want to go that extra little bit further, consider checking out the link to my Etsy store where I've got some merch like this right here and a few other little bits and bobs, some stands that I've made, stuff like that. I'd really appreciate if you consider supporting me that extra little bit more. It means an awful lot. And if not, you know, hitting that subscribe button, that's absolutely fabulous. Lets YouTube know that I'm doing a good job. Thanks very much, everyone. See you all again real soon.